This is a video for using 2D design. The 2D design icon is found on your desktop. If you double click it, this window will appear. This is an A3 sheet to give you some scale to the drawing, and each of these dots is a centimetre apart. I'm going to draw my clock shape first. There, I've drawn a circle, but unfortunately I'm not sure how big I've drawn that circle. I'd have to count all the dots in between to see. A better way to do this would be to go to the circle, click and hold, scroll out and pick up radius. Now our clocks are going to be 150 millimetres, so half of 150 millimetres is 75. If I change the radius to 75 now and don't change anything else and click OK, this gives me the size of clock. I'm going to be making a Minnie Mouse clock, so the next thing I want to do is to do her ears. I'm not going to set a radius for these, I'm going to judge to the size as I draw it. Minnie Mouse has quite reasonably big ears for the size of her face, so I'm going to draw them like that and move them into position and copy another one and just judge myself where to put it a little bit more. That looks perfect. Now I'm going to delete, oh no, I think that's just a little bit more maybe. Now I'm going to delete the lines, because otherwise if I sent this to the laser cutter like this, it would cut each of these circles out and I wouldn't be left with a Minnie Mouse clock after all. If you click on the delete any button here, hold, scroll out, you can pick up this tool that will allow you to snip the pieces in between. So there's my basic mini outline. I'm a little bit worried that if I click on something by mistake, I might move it out and then I've lost my Minnie Mouse. Remember, you can undo the last thing you did, but you can't undo any more than that. So if you make more than one mistake, it will only delete the most recent mistake. And now I'm going to make my Minnie Mouse a dress. So I'm going to draw a line all the way across and stop and then delete the edges. Now I'm going to draw some polka dots. Now remember, I said about copy function, it's this little 2 yellow squares over each other. So if I click that, that will copy me the dots. So let's just quickly make a polka dot pattern. And I'm going to cut these out separate white acrylic and the dress out of a different colour and stick them all together. The next thing I think Minnie needs is a bow. I could draw a bow on here, but I think if I went to the internet, I'd probably be able to find a good bow outline. Let's look. Bow outline. Oh, some brilliant images coming up there. Now remember, when you want to use a picture from the internet for 2D design, it needs to be a really clear shape. Let's see if this one will work. If I right click and copy and paste this into 2D design using the paste function, let's see if I can draw around it. If you choose bitmap, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4th one in on the top, and contour is the second from the bottom. If you change the 5mm to 0, hopefully it will draw around the bow. Let's see if this has worked. There we go, it has drawn us a bow. So if we delete this, we don't need this any longer on our drawing. We can use this. As you can see, it's also drawn around the square. So let's remove that. If we go to edit and explode, this is a way of ungrouping drawings. So now I should be able to pick up that rectangle and get rid of it. And now I can choose this bow to go over here. Now, I'm not going to cut these things out from behind because I would like to make this from a different piece of plastic. So my assembled clock is going to look like this. However, these are actually going to be cut out of separate pieces of plastic. Oh, whoops, I've moved the top of her head. Quick, undo. If I hold shift down on my keyboard and click that middle line, I can deselect it and now I can move the bow successfully over here. I also think she'd like a bow on her dress, so I'm going to copy this bow and I'm going to make a smaller version over here that when I assemble my clock, I'm going to sit it there on her dress. The only thing missing from my clock now is a circle for the clock mechanism to go through. those clock mechanisms that we will use are 8mm. So again, if we select radius, and this time I change the millimeters to 4, which is half of 8mm, that gives us the correct size for the mechanism. So I'm going to pop my hole there. Now, I also would like to run a test module to see what this looks like in card. So first of all, I'm going to save this in our user area. So you want to save this in the student drive. You can also save it in your own user area so that you've got the original one, but student, technology, and then find our group. So here we are, AH81, 18, 19. If I open it, there's other people's ones saved in there. So if I put Miss Henry all, perhaps if I took my caps lock off before I did that, that would be better. And save this. Now I've got a version of it. Now to send it to the laser cutter, you actually want to send it in a different file format. So I'm going to export file and go to the same folder. But this time I'm changing it to DXF, which is there. So let me call that Miss Henry all again, not that one. I'm saving it as a DXF. Say save. I will now be able to cut this out of card.